प्रतिबोधिताम् भगवतां नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथिताम् पुराणमुनिनां मध्ये महाभारतम्।
Starts with the next sloka. Chadurvida bhajante mam jana sukridinorjuna arto jignasu rattati jnani cha paradarshava. How we approach the divine, based on that the community system is created. How matured you are, only based on that the whole community system is created. How matured you are, that much you share with the society. With that same maturity only you will approach the God also. If you feel you are missing money, you will go to the God who will give money. If you feel you are missing knowledge, you will go to the Devi who will give knowledge, Saraswati. If you feel you are insecure, you will go to the God who will protect you. You will go to Durga or Kali. If you feel you are missing spiritual experience, ultimate experience, only then you will go to the ultimate divine. You will go to the divine incarnations, the ultimate expressions of divine. Here Krishna says, 4 type of people come to me. Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukridinorjuna arto jignasu rattarti jnani cha paradarshava. Here he explains clearly the 4 community. People who are distressed means the working class, the workers, and people who are the desirer of wealth means the business people. Vaishya, who wants wealth. The inquisitive means the person who is continuously inquiring, continuously asking. Kshatriya, the person who is always asking what next, what next, what next, tatakyum, tatakyum, tatakyum. A Kshatriya can never rest because he is again and again asking what next, what next, what next. Inquisitive, tatakyam. Kshatriya. Then the person who is searching for knowledge of the absolute, Brahmana. All the 4 come to me, all the 4 reach me, but from a different level. Please be very clear. From a different level. All the 4 may go to the same God, but they will not experience Him in the same way. They will experience Him in a different way. You may go to the same God or different God, but according to your maturity only you will experience the divine. As long as you are caught in the fear or greed, you will be going only to that type of gods. You will feel attracted only to that type of gods. That is why again and again I tell people, it is very easy to go to a temple and pray, but very difficult to go to a master and start meditating. It is only for matured people. It is not for everyone. In temples you will see thousands. But in the spiritual places, you will see only few hundreds. It is not for all, it is a luxury. Spirituality is a luxury. Only few intelligent people can afford. the price for the spirituality is your sufferings. Who had enough sufferings, only they can afford to enter into spirituality. If you have not had enough sufferings, if you have not understood that you had enough sufferings, you cannot enter into spirituality. It is only for the people who suffered, who understood they have suffered. Two things. Not only suffering, understanding that you are suffering. That intelligence, both are needed to enter into the spiritual life. Spirituality is a luxury. It is not for all. Religion is for everybody. Only for a few mature people can enter into spirituality. The next sloka, Krishna says, Yo yo yamyam tanum bhakta sraddhayar siddhamichchati tasya tasya chalam sraddham tameva vidatamyaham. He says, I am in everyone's heart as the Paramatman. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Please understand, when he says demigod, it doesn't mean small devatas. Even if you approach Krishna out of fear or greed, you are approaching demigod. When he says the word demigod, he means that with what approach you approach the divine, with what attitude you approach the divine. With the right approach, even if you approach demigod, he will give you enlightenment. With the wrong approach, even if you approach Krishna, you will have only money. That's a beautiful story in Krishna's life. Story says, there was a rich man who prays to Krishna to become a king. Morning and evening, twice he will tell Krishna, Krishna. That's all, nothing else. Krishna, give me kingdom. Krishna, I want to become a king. There was another one, poor lady, who had only one cow. With that milk, she will make little butter and little sweets and offer it to Krishna. Whole day she will be sitting and chanting Krishna's name. Whole day she will be sitting and chanting Krishna's name. Suddenly one day, Krishna appeared and answered, responded to both of them. This guy who asked for kingdom, he became a king. And this lady who was praying every day to Krishna, her cow died. Narada asked, what is this, O Lord? That fellow who repeats only twice your name, you made him as king. And this lady, 24 hours, she remembers you. You killed her cow. What is this? Krishna says, that fellow wants only kingdom. He came to me only for that. I am just utility. I am just utility. So I blessed him for what he wants. But for her, I am the whole life. There was only one small hindrance. Only one thing was standing between her and me, that is that cow. I took away that also. I removed that hindrance also. Now she is completely into me, within me. And she is completely now become me. With what approach you are, with what attitude you go to the divine, plays an important role in your spiritual progress. If you approach the same Krishna out of fear or greed, you are worshipping demigod. But Krishna says it is not wrong. He is not here to discourage you. Nothing wrong. But not enough. Not enough. That is not a place to stop. That's a place. It is a good place to have visa, but not to have green card. Or citizenship. Here, the planets of demigods, or the places of demigods, are good place to visit, but not the right place to stay. And Krishna says, because I am in everyone's heart as a Paramatman, the moment you desire to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Let me describe usually how a seeker travels through all these paths and ends up. A normal seeker, when he starts, he hears about all kinds of pujas, homas. This homa will give you that benefit, that puja will give this benefit. And he starts all these things. For Friday fasting for Devi, Saturday fasting for Balaji, Sunday fasting for some other god, and Monday fasting for Shiva, Tuesday fasting for Skanda, and Thursday fasting for Guru, and all pujas, all possible homas, wherever things go on, that person will be there. This is the way it will start. Then slowly, not only going to all these pujas and homas, going to so many different kinds of devatas temples. This is the way it will start. Then slowly, after some time, you will come to the understanding. These rituals and this going to the temples are too much. Why to let somebody else do for my sake? Let me directly do and relate with the divine. He himself will start his own shrine in the puja room, in his house. From morning till night, he himself will start doing. A little mature person, he himself starts. I should feel related and I should feel connected. Let me do it by myself. He himself starts. Then after some time, the first standard is going around to all the temple, all the puja, all the homa. Second standard is starting by yourself, doing it by yourself. Third standard, all gods are one and the same God. I think I feel attracted more towards this one God, particular God. Having one form and taking away all the other things. But doing puja and homa only for that one form. This is the third standard. Fourth, more than puja, the mantra is powerful. Let me start repeating the mantra. Surrendering through body is puja. Surrendering through words is mantra. Mantra and stotra. Surrendering through mind is dhyana. So here he thinks, why not do some stotra and japa? He starts repeating the mantra of that same God. In every level, different gurus appeal for you. In every level, different gurus appeal for you. When you are in the level of puja and homa, people who do that, they appeal for you. When you are in the level of going around all the pilgrimage places, people who guide you to the pilgrimage places, they appeal for you. And when you go to Sabarimala, you call somebody as Guru Swami. The person who leads the whole trip is called Guru Swami. He appeals for you. When you come to the level of you yourself doing upasana, you yourself start worshipping, then the person who teaches you puja how to do, he appeals for you. He is your guru. Then when you start repeating some mantra, the person who gives you the mantra appeals for you. He becomes your guru, who guides you, who can tell you how to meditate, how to repeat the mantra, how to do japa. He appeals. Next, after some time you think, why only repeat this japa? Why not start the meditation? You will start visualizing his form. Now the person who teaches you meditation will appeal. But this meditation is again Saguna Brahma, means form, meditating on the form. This is the next standard. First standard, going around and attending rituals and temples. Second standard, doing all the rituals by yourself. Third standard, concentrating on one deity, doing puja and homa for that God. Fourth standard, why to do so many rituals? Why not start the mantras? Fifth standard, why to stop with the mantra? Why not start visualizing the form? Meditate. Then, when you sincerely start meditating, he himself appears. He himself gives darshan and guides you to the higher level sadhana. He guides you to the right master. Sometimes he gives darshan and guides. Sometimes he directly, automatically makes you feel connected. Only a person who has come to this level can feel directly related to an enlightened master. Till you reach this level, till this maturity happens to you, you cannot straight away feel connected completely with an enlightened person. You need to go through all these 5 steps. Only then you will feel connected with a living master. When you come to this single, meditating on a single form, then master happens in your life. He happens in your life. Then he guides you. The form on which you are meditating, that form and your form, both are expressions of same divine energy. He puts you into that real meditation, means turning towards yourself, turning towards your consciousness, turning towards Atman. He gives you the technique to realize your being. The 7th standard, the ultimate, you experience, you are that. You achieve the enlightenment. This is the usual method. Seekers travel, starting with 1st standard, 2nd standard, 3rd standard, and you end up in experiencing yourself. Now find out in which standard you are and try to go to the next level. That's all. That is all you need to do. Here Krishna says, Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta sraddhayarchidu vichadi tasya tasya chalam sraddham tameva vidatamyaham. Because I reside in everyone's heart as Paramatman. When somebody desires to worship a demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. When you approach the divine, even from the first level, he himself helps you. He helps you. It's like a 18 karat gold. 18 karat gold is nothing wrong, but you need to be put in a little fire. Slowly, slowly you will become 22 when you reach the master, a living master. Slowly, slowly you will become 24 when you yourself become enlightened. If you throw away the first step, you can never reach the second step. Unless you went round or you went through all these steps, it will be difficult. You will not be able to relate with the living master directly. You will not be able to connect. You will not be able to feel the importance. Today morning when devotee came, he was speaking to me and he expressed his confusions which happened after reading all the books. And he said, I am now more confused than before, Swamiji. In the Gita, Arjuna says the same thing. After a few chapters, he says, Oh Krishna, now I am more confused than before the Gita. It means you have really done your sadhana. You really did your sadhana. Understanding that this is not helping me is the right help derived by that sadhana. Buddha teaches meditation to one of his disciples. And the disciple tries his best and comes back. Buddha, I am not able to meditate. Then Buddha says, don't worry, you understood properly. That is the purpose of this meditation. Understanding you are not able to meditate is the purpose of this meditation. You have done it. The meditation has helped its purpose. Now forget about it. Come to the next step. Sometime these techniques will make you mature even by the understanding that you are not able to do the techniques. Even that is a big maturity. Nothing wrong in it. So, different kinds of maturity, different levels of maturity happens to you when you reach the divine. Approaching the divine in the first level or the first step, nothing wrong. But don't stop there. Here he says, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Means in that particular attitude, he can grow. There is a possibility of growth. He says, I don't discourage him. I make him study so that he will slowly come up to the next levels. You need intelligence to protect it. That only you need to do. So be very clear. When you receive anything out of energy without having maturity, if you have enough intelligence, buddhi, maturity to have wealth, naturally you would have created it. Because you don't have buddhi, you go and ask from God to give you the Shakti. If you get only Shakti without buddhi, it will be temporary. That is what he says. If you get Shakti without buddhi, it will be temporary. It will not stay with you. So that is why he says boons derived from demigods are only temporary. They are not permanent. And if you continue to worship them, you will be stuck with them. You will create only that kind of space in your inner space. You will live only with that kind of energy in your inner being. And he makes one more statement. Matbhakta yanti mamapi. My devotees attain me. When he says this word, if you approach me from the ultimate attitude of love and gratitude, the greatest attitude is gratitude. If you approach me with gratitude, you will achieve me. You will experience me. Again and again people ask me, Swamiji, when I have so much of problems, how can I be grateful? Please be very clear. You continuously pray to God. Oh God, give me diamond ring. Do you feel grateful that He gave you finger? We don't feel grateful that He gave us finger. Be very clear. Finger is not your birthright. There are millions of people who don't have hands. There are millions of people who don't have fingers. It is not your birthright. We continuously pray intensely in all possible ways. Oh God, give me this, oh God, give me that. But we never feel grateful for the things which is showered on us. The very life is a blessing. Can you say your life is given to you as a salary for some job which you did in Vaikuntha or Kailasha? No. It's not that we worked 100 years in Kailash and got one check. All right, have 70 years of life. If you go and work in the army, they will give you money for study. It's not like that. We did not get the life as a salary. It's a pure blessing. It is showered on us. Every breath which is going, inhale, you are inhaling breath and exhaling breath, is just boon given to us. The very life is a blessing. Continuously, we feel the things which are not there around us, but we never experience the things which are showered on us by the divine. There's a big list one side, what all the things God has not given you. And there's a big list other side, what all the things God has given you. How many things are showered on you? If you honestly write, you should start with paper, pen, and it's an endless list. Every moment your life is the gift from the divine. Still you are alive. Still you are conscious. That itself is a gift from the divine. It is showered on us. If you honestly make a list, the things which is not given to you, that will be a huge list, endless, infinite list. Things which are given to you, that will also be endless, infinite list. Now it is up to us whether to look at the list which is not given to us and feel continuously miserable and beg, oh, I did not have this, I did not have that, and live in hell, or to look at the list which is showered on us and feel deeply grateful and feel, oh God, you have showered so much on me. You have really given me the life, and feel grateful and create our heaven. It's up to us to create hell or heaven. It's your pure choice. It is up to you to do what you want. He says, these men with small intelligence worship the demigods. Their results are temporary. And we continue to live in that way. When you feel the life itself is a blessing, when you approach the divine with a deep love and gratitude, not only you experience the divine consciousness, he says, Madbhakta yanti mamapi, they achieve me, they attain me. That's another one place. In another one place, Krishna says beautifully, if you ask something, I'll give you that. If you don't ask anything, I'll give you me. I'll give you me. People say, who wants him? Who wants him? We want him only as a utility, not him. As long as he serves our purpose, things are okay. So we don't want him. People want only solution. They don't want the divine. Abhyaktam vyaktimabannam manyante mama buddhayaha param bhavam ajanando mamam avyayamanutamam. Abhyaktam vyaktimabannam manyante mama buddhayaha param bhavam ajananto mama vyayamanutamam. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Bhagavan, was impersonal before and have become human being now. They do not know that I am imperishable and supreme even when I assume the body. Unintelligent men who do not know my supreme, inimitable and immortal form assume my imperceptible form as manifested. Here he makes another important statement. When he says all these signs, when he says all these things, and finally he makes a statement in last sloka, Madbhakta yanti mamapi, my devotees achieve me, attain me. Naturally Arjuna would have had a doubt. Are you demigod? One more demigod. Are you one more demigod? Naturally Arjuna would have had the doubt. For that, now Krishna gives explanation. Unintelligent men who are not mature, they think I am just this form. Only an intelligent man understands Abhyaktam means unborn, immortal. I am immortal. Even when I assume this form, I am that same consciousness. I have not become ordinary human being by assuming the human form. He declares his divinity openly. He declares clearly, I am the same even when I assume human form. Don't think I am one more demigod. Don't think I am one more demigod. Abhyaktam vyaktimabannam Manyante mama buddhayaha parambhavam ajananto mamavyayam anumaduttamam. Mamavyayam anuttamam. He says, I am unborn, immortal, inimitable, even when I take this form. Even when I assume this form, I am that same ultimate divine. I am not an ordinary man. This is a very... That is why he is making the statement. This statement is made to declare his enlightenment, to express clearly, explicitly, I am enlightened, I am embodiment of that ultimate consciousness. The problem is, person who is receiving is not matured enough. People ask me again and again, why Krishna is again and again declaring he is enlightened? That's a big problem. If you are talking about something again and again, something wrong with that. There's a proverb in Tamil. If you wear a new ring, you will always speak with that hand. Because continuously you will be showing that. If you wear a new earring, what you will do? Again your hand will shake. And if you are wearing a new sari, again and again you will leave the border. If you are speaking again and again about something, there is something wrong with that thing. If you are clear about it, why you should speak again and again? Because the person who is receiving is not matured enough. Is not matured enough. For Arjuna, he is approaching Krishna only out of fear and greed, at least when the Gita is started. Out of that fear, depression, out of the greed, what is more beneficial for me? He is asking, what will give the maximum benefit? Means greed. And next thing, fear. He is afraid. What will happen to the war? What will happen in the war? The fear and greed, that is the way he approached Krishna. So even Arjuna sees Krishna only as a demigod in the initial level. The initial level, Arjuna's approach is only as a demigod. That is the reason now Krishna declares his glory or his true form. He says, all these type of people come to me, I fulfill them from in a different level, just to encourage their faith, just to help them to grow. But only intelligent people will understand, even if I assume this body, I am the ultimate, I am enlightened. Unintelligent people, they think, seeing my body, seeing my form, that I am not the divine. So please be very clear, I am that. He again and again makes a clear statement to Arjuna so that Arjuna can understand. Next statement he makes. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavanmam prapatyade vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. He says, after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. It's a very important statement. Only after many births and deaths, you will be able to relate with an enlightened person. You cannot feel connected to an enlightened master unless you undergo many births and deaths. I was telling you the 7 steps. First standard, going around to many temples, many rituals, many places, pilgrimage, everything. Second, doing it by yourself. Third, concentrating it on one God. Fourth, instead of rituals, doing japa, repeating the stotras. Fifth, instead of repeating the japa, visualizing his form and meditating. Sixth, Instead of meditating on some other form, falling into the same consciousness, realizing that form and your Atman are one and the same, God and the Atman are one and the same. Seventh, experiencing the reality. These 7 steps, don't think will be done in a single janma. People take hundreds of janmas to achieve the maturity. It is very rare people achieve this maturity. He says, Durlabha, very rare to see a soul who has achieved that maturity. Who has achieved that maturity. It is very easy to relate with gods in a temple because they don't demand you to be pure. They don't demand any discipline from you. You can go and pray to him, do whatever you want and think he has blessed you and go. But relating with enlightened master is very difficult. I always tell people ask me, why do masters become very popular after their death? After their death, all masters will become popular. Because it is very easy to cheat yourself with the photograph. It is very easy to cheat yourself with the photograph. You can put his photograph and do whatever you want and think it is his teachings. And you have no problem. There is nobody to question you. There is nobody to ask you anything. You can do whatever you want and project. Everything is his blessing. And you can play with his photograph. It is very easy. There is nobody to catch you. There is nobody to discipline you. It is very easy to play with the photographs. That is why all dead masters became very popular. And you don't have to give your ego. You don't have to give up your ego with dead masters. You just have a photograph, put a big garland, do arati, do whatever you want. Sometimes you can sit under the photograph and start representing him. No problem. Very easy. The whole game is very easy. Nothing needs to be done. The whole game is ego fulfilling. A nice game. Connecting with old masters, dead masters is very easy because they don't demand your ego. You don't have to surrender. Nothing needs to be done. That is why with old masters and with temples, crowd will be too much. Crowd will be too much. Because it is very easy, nothing needs to be done. All you need to do is just think. You have done everything and you are blessed. But with a living master, you need to transform your life. You need to transform your life. You need to experience the truth. He will not let you sleep. He will not let you rest. He will haunt you. He will make you realize the truth. He will not let you do what you want. He will not be fulfilling your ego. I always tell people, old masters are dead. Living master is death. He will be death for you. He will be death for your ego. And you cannot do your games with him. You cannot play all your games with him. You have to grow. You have to become mature being. Nothing can be done. You cannot do the same old game and put his name in front. No. And he will make you wake up. He will shake you. Ramana Maharshi says, somebody asked Ramana Maharshi, this whole world is dream, Maya. Master also I see in the same dream. Enlightened person also I see him in the same dream. I see you also in the same dream. How is it going to help me? Ramana Maharshi says, if you see a lion in your dream, what will happen? You will wake up from the dream. Same way, if you see a master in your dream, be very clear, you are going to wake up from the dream. Master is a Simha Swapna. He will be a Simha Swapna. Masters are nightmares. That is why you are afraid. People are afraid to come near the masters. With the living master, very difficult. You can't continue to play your game. You can't do the same game and put whatever you want. The game cannot be yours. The game will be his. You cannot play your game. You have to act according to his script. So he is going to be the director. That is why it is very difficult to fall in tune with the living master. Only a person who understood after many, many births and deaths, who has matured, who has got enough knowledge, surrenders unto me, surrenders to the living master. See, in India, kids play with the toys, especially in Tamil Nadu. There are wooden toys. Some 4 or 5 wooden toys will be there. I have seen kids playing. For one toy they will put sari and say, this is mother. For other toy they will put dhoti and they will say, this is father. Other toy they will put skirt and say, this is sister. Other toy they will put a trouser and they will say, this is brother. And they will start their game. Mother is cooking. They will take that mother doll and make it stand near the small kitchen. And they will say, father is going to office. They will put that father doll in a small car and they will drive. And they will make sound also. Ping, ping, horn sound also. Take the car to the office. And then after a few minutes they will tell, sister is going to school. They will put the sister doll in the car and they will run around. Sister is going to the school and they will make sound also. Sister is crying, she doesn't want to go to school. They will do the game. And then they will tell, now it is becoming evening. Sister is coming back from the school. They will bring the sister back. They will bring the father. Father is coming back from an office. They will bring the father back. They are playing. Please understand, we are also doing the same game. You catch somebody and you tell, you are my mother, you are father, you are husband, you are wife, you are my son, you are my sister, you are my brother. And if that doll doesn't behave according to your image, you say this is not a good doll, this is not a good toy. You just throw it away. Sometimes these dolls, they hurt themselves with the dolls. Then they say, this doll has hurt me. They don't realize they took the doll and put it on their eyes. They complain, this doll has hurt me. They start crying. Same way, when somebody doesn't behave according to your frame, sister means you have an idea. Sister should be like this. Mother means you have an idea. She should be like that. Wife means you have an idea. She should be like that. You want all the dolls to behave their role, play their role. When somebody doesn't play their role, you throw them out of the game. You don't want to play with the doll. Suddenly you die. Leave the body. When you go to the other place, the next birth, again you catch one more set of dolls. Start the same game. My father, my husband, my wife, my daughter, my son, my brother, and the game starts. Same game. Continues, you play. Sometimes you take the doll inside, sometimes you throw the dolls outside, sometimes you fire them, sometimes you enjoy them, and if you don't have enough of dolls, you get 2-3 cats and 2-3 dogs also to play with you, and you have everything. And when you have everything, play continuously, you play. Suddenly again you die. When you die, again you assume the another one body. With another one body, you catch one more set of people and start playing the same game. Again and again, you are playing the same game. Only a person who is little mature, who understood how many times I will play the same game. What am I doing? how many times I will do the same psychodrama? Please understand, the whole thing is psychodrama. Whole thing is just psychodrama. Whether it is relationship or whether it is life, everything is nothing but psychodrama. You have an agenda, society has taught you. As a father, you should behave like this. As a husband, you should behave like this. As a son, you should behave like this. As long as you follow the agenda, you are called good citizen. When you don't follow the agenda, you are not respected. All the other dolls, they kick you out of the game. They tell you are not accepted in the game. You are not allowed anymore for this game. Means you are not invited for the parties. That is what is boycotting. They boycott you. And then suddenly one day you realize, how many times again and again and again I am doing the same drama, same game. The person who understood again and again I am doing the same drama, same game, is only called who achieved knowledge, understood, who got the knowledge of this truth, surrenders unto me, surrenders to the Master, an enlightened being, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Only a person who achieved this knowledge relates with the Master in a real sense. Only he sees the Master in a real way. Please be very clear. There is a beautiful sloka which says, even if you have seen once an enlightened Master, you will become enlightened. The sloka says. And people come and ask me, why still I am not becoming enlightened, Swamiji? Be very clear. Never think that you are seeing me. Or never think just by seeing through your eyes you can see the divine, you can see the Masters, not me. Even if you have seen any other enlightened Masters, never think you have seen them. Just by seeing your eyes, never think you have seen them. If you have seen them, with which attitude you have seen them, that plays a major role. If you went to them with a greed, you went to demigod, not enlightened Master. If you went to them with fear, if you have gone to them, if you have gone out of fear, again you have gone to demigod, not to an enlightened Master. Only if you go with an attitude of love and gratitude, understanding, maturity, you are seeing a living Master. You are seeing an enlightened person. The moment you see an enlightened being as he is, you will become enlightened. There is no doubt about it. Krishna says, Desham Jnani Nitya Yukta Yega Bhaktir Visishyate Priyohi Jnanino Yadharmaham Sasa Mama Priya. Desham Jnani Nitya Yukta Yega Bhaktir Visishyate Priyohi Jnanino Yadharmaham Sacha Mama Priya. Of these, the one who is in full knowledge, who is always engaged in the pure devotion, is the best, for I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. The person who approaches me out of love and gratitude, he is the best person. I am very dear to him and he is very dear to me. He ends the whole conversation, this whole concept with this sloka. He says, starting with the different levels is okay, but don't stop there. Don't stop there. It takes janmas for a person to understand and achieve this maturity. Understand? But there is no need. You should also think let me take some more janmas and become mature. What is there, Swamiji? When I say it takes janmas, some people think, let me take some more janmas and become mature. It's a very trouble. Whenever we speak something, we have to make a point very clear. Otherwise, what all understanding happens to people, you can't imagine. Once, a great Bhagavad Pandit, he was telling the story of Harishchandra. All of you know the story of Harishchandra, who lived for truth, who sold even his wife for the sake of truth, to keep up his words. Such a great person. He told the whole story. After that, he asked one person, what did you understand from this story? He got up and said, Master, I understood. Truth is life. We should give up everything for truth. Truth is ultimate. He said, right. He asked the next person, what did you understand? Master, I understood. When at the time of emergency, you can sell your wife. At the time of emergency, you can sell your wife. From the same story, two different understandings. So be very clear. Don't miss the understanding. If you miss the understanding, you will misunderstand. Here Krishna says, out of these, the wise is always devoted to me. He is the best person. To start, you can start at any level, but reach the ultimate. One more thing, don't think, oh, Krishna himself says it will take janmas. Let me also have some more janmas and become mature. No. If you can enter into the knowledge, this moment, the experience can happen to you. You don't need to postpone. Every moment is new birth for you. Every moment is death and every moment is birth. The outgoing breath is death. Incoming breath is birth. So be very clear. Every moment you die and take birth. This moment can be new birth for you. The person who understood this truth and takes a new birth, he is only called as Dvija. In Sanskrit we say, a person who is initiated is called Dvija, means newborn, second born. So all sannyasis are considered to be the second born, Dvija. They are supposed to be the reborn people. Reborn means not physically, in a being level. In a being level, they have taken new birth. They give birth to themselves. They became newborn being. So with understanding this moment, the new birth can happen to you. Krishna says, Desham jnani nitya yukta yega bhaktir visishyate priyohi jnanino tyardaham sa cha mama priya. He says, sa cha. He is dear to me and I am dear to him. He is in me and I am in him. Krishna says beautifully, he is in you and you are in him. The moment you understand this ultimate truth, the moment you approach the divine with right attitude, you become the divine. All you need to do is just change your attitude over. Just change your attitude. Whole thing is done. So, let us pray to the ultimate Parabrahma Krishna to give us all this intelligence and change our attitude, to give us this experience of eternal bliss, Nitya Ananda. Thank you. Vasudeva Sudam Devam Gamsachanuramardanam Devagi Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum